Welcome to Demystifying Music Theory, video number 2. I'm going to give a little introduction in this video, which I won't do in the next ones. So bear with me just for a moment. My mission in these videos is to give you a practical and an organized way to learn music theory and do it in a very short time. I've come up with a way for you to learn music theory that I've not seen anywhere else. I came upon this method to teach music theory as a result of my own journey to learn music theory beginning in my college days. I was 26 when I started college, and it took me 5 years to graduate with a Bachelor of Arts degree. And for that, I am eternally thankful and grateful to my music professors and other teachers in my college experience. Prior to my days in college, playing music was how I made my living. So I know you don't need to know music theory to play music. But music theory teaches you the language of music and opens the doors to understanding and creating new music, and gives you knowledge to know what you're doing, to explore more creative options in your playing, to write out your scores. And one big thing is to communicate clearly with other musicians. Now, some worry that knowing music theory will destroy the creative process. And I look at it like this. The creative process in music, to me anyway, is a spiritual thing. And the nuts and bolts of music theory is cognitive. They can work together, or they can work separately, depending on the needs of the moment. So buckle up and let's get started. If you haven't watched video number 1 covering the 7 triads, you need to watch it and then come back to this video. The 7 triads are just the 3-letter names of the 7 triads. No sharps or flats, just the 7 triads. And you need to have those 3-letter triads learned the same way as you learn how to spell a 3-letter word. Just as you know, the word cat is, you think of it as cat, not C-A-T. So that's the way you need to know these triads. It's not that hard. I've got plenty of help for you in that first video. They each need to be thought of as one thing, not 3 separate letters. So get that first. My analogy for the 7 triads is that they operate in your mind just like a computer program that's constantly running in the background to make the software work. Okay, that's how the triads work. You need to be able to recall them without even basically thinking about it. They're just there. Also remember that there are 2 number systems in place all the time when talking music theory. One number system deals with notes as they relate to the key signature. And at the same time, the other number system deals with individual chords by themselves within the music. So 2 different number systems. The chord C is the chord C is the one note in the chord C is C. So C is 1. But if we're looking at an F chord in the same music, the F chord is made up of F-A-C, and so C is 5 when we're talking about it in relationship to the chord. So that's the difference in the 2 number systems. Not so hard, but it can be confusing. And we can cut the music theory learning curve in half if we take the 12 major chords and divide them into 4 groups. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the first group today. When we add the sharps and flats to the 7 triads that we learned in lesson 1, then that gives us 12 major chords. And that's all the major chords there are in American music, is 12. Now, if we try and learn each of these chords individually and apart from each other, most people are going to give up. That's a big problem with trying to learn music theory. It's too confusing. It takes too much time. And the benefit of doing it just doesn't seem that it's worth the effort. But if we divide these 12 chords into 4 groups, it gives us an organized way to learn these chords and more than cuts in half the learning curve. And you don't need to have to know how to play piano in order to understand it. So let's start by just taking the first group and learning that. I thought about this long and hard, started and stopped these videos several times, and finally came upon the realization that we need to just look at these groups one video at a time. And so thanks for bearing with me, and we'll just cover one group today. But after we get done with this group, then you'll see how easy this will be for you. We'll just repeat the process to learn the 3 other groups, okay? So here we go. The first group is the white, white, white group. The 3 chords in this group are C, F, and G. We also need to know the 3 notes in each of these chords. That's where the triads come in. The triads are the first, third, and fifth notes of each triad. In other words, the C triad is C, E, G. So C is 1, E is 3, and G is 5. And they're the basic notes in each chord. So group 1 contains the chords C, F, and G. Those are the white, white, white notes on the piano. For each one of those chords is a white, white, white. 3 notes, 3 white notes to play each one of these chords. That's why we call it the white, white, white group, okay? So the C chord is C, E, G. The F chord is F, A, C. And the G chord is G, B, D. And the chords in this first group are the white, white, white chords, okay? The chords are C, F, and G. And notes within each one of those chords is what we also need to know. The C chord is C, E, G, the F chord is F, A, C, and the G chord is G, B, D. And to remember the 3 chords in the white, white, white group, just remember the white group chords are C, F, and G. It's just pretty easy because they're white, 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 okay? Don't need any big memory aid to learn those. C, F, and G. How many people started out on guitar playing the chords C, F, and G, and ditto on the piano? We don't think of the chords so much. We're thinking more of notes on the piano, but nevertheless, that's the thinking here. That just remember C, F, and G are the white, white, white group. And these chords are spelled just like we learned them in the 7 triads memorization. So you already know them. There aren't any sharps or flats in these chords. So if you've memorized the 7 triads, you already know what the 3 notes are in the chords C, F, and G, which is the chords we're studying in this first lesson. The C chord is C, E, G, the F chord is F, A, C, the G chord is G, B, D. Now, to help you remember those 3 chords, and if you play an instrument, we can arrange these 3 chords in a musical way by starting to play the first chord, C, and that will put us in the key of C. If we designate C as the key, then C is the 1 chord. Everything else for the key signature relates to that. C is 1, C, D, E, F is 4, and G is 5. See how easy that is? And by the way, what's the 5th of the G chord? D. How do I know that? Because I already memorized the triad, G, B, D. 1, 3, and 5, GBD. So those are the kind of things you're going to be able to know and have confidence in. And it's like I say, it's all basically cognitive, and but you can mix that with things that you're trying to accomplish in your music and come up with some great things, and be able to communicate better with other musicians. Now, mix those 3 chords, the 3 chords in this lesson, C, F, and G. Just start and stop on C, which is the 1 chord. If we start and stop on C, and we can interchange those 3 chords any way we want after that. But if you start and stop on C, it will sound musical, because that's the 1, 4, 5 chords in the key of C. So as you play, in order to help in this process of learning music theory and understanding it, and just knowing at the drop of a hat what notes are in each chord, as you tinker around and make up some simple songs with these 3 chords, every time you get to a chord, think of what 3 notes are in that chord. So you're not only thinking of, oh, I'm playing an F chord, you're also thinking F, A, C. Oh, I went back to C, C, E, G. Let's try a G chord, that's the 5, G, B, D. So that's the kind of thing I want you to do here. We're going to be doing the same thing with the other 3 groups. So we won't renew that or go over that anymore in the other groups. You'll already know what to do. But when you do that and you learn this stuff, then you can amaze your friends when you know that the 5th note in the C chord is G, and the 3rd chord, or the 3rd note in the F chord, is A. And it's just, wow, how do you know that? Well, you don't have to tell them about the video, okay? Let's review group 1, because we're basically done. The chords in group 1 are the white chords, C, F, and G. They're spelled C, E, G, F, A, C, G, B, D. Now when you're ready, you go on to the next video, which will cover the next chord group, which is the white, black, white group. And I hope, and that one's probably going to be shorter than this video, because there won't be a big introduction, and I might not ad-lib as much, so because you've already understood, the direction and how this is all going to work just by going through this first one. So blessings on you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.